Hello and welcome to today's webinar on using technology to align your sales and marketing teams. My name is Chad Collette and I lead the marketing team here at Ledju Partners, and we have a great topic to talk about today, aligning sales and marketing. Or is it aligning marketing and sales? Either way, it's something that companies of nearly all sizes struggle with. And I know here at Ledju Partners, our sales manager and I place a weekly, if not a daily priority on making sure that we are on the same page. And technology plays an enormous role in the efficiency and effectiveness of achieving our goals. Now, if you were with us for last month's webinar on marketing automation versus CRM, I want to say welcome back. If you didn't get a chance to watch that webinar, you can visit our marketing services page at ledjupartners.com and click on the link for our monthly webinars to view it on demand. And while you're there, you can also sign up for the next webinar we have in our monthly series. Today, over the next 20-25 minutes, we'll dive deeper into the use of both customer relationship management, or CRM as it's widely known, and marketing automation technologies, and how creating a connected system will allow for a more effective alignment between marketing and sales teams. It doesn't matter which system or systems you're using today, whether it's Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Salesforce, Act, HubSpot, ClickDimensions, Acton, Constant Contact, or the hundreds of other options that are available. Now, before I introduce our presenter, I have a few quick housekeeping items to cover. First, I want to mention that today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. All attendees will receive an email immediately following the webinar with a link to access the presentation. To ensure the best audio quality, we have everyone in listen-only mode. But if you have a question, we encourage those. Please submit those in the question pane of your GoToWebinar control panel. If we have time at the end of the presentation, we'll field as many as possible, but if we don't get to any questions, we will make sure we follow up with you after the webinar. Now it's time to introduce our presenter, Jody Gilroy. Jody's a CRM application consultant with Ledju Partners and has an extensive marketing background and even a deeper history of how technology can align sales and marketing. Jody, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Chad. And welcome everybody to the webinar. As Chad mentioned, I am a CRM application consultant with Ledju Partners. Prior to joining Ledju last year, my career path allowed me to serve in a variety of marketing roles, with the majority of those years spent developing digital strategy and ensuring execution with the use of digital technologies, including CRM marketing automation systems. So as a self-proclaimed marketing nerd, I consider myself lucky to have worked in a profession that has experienced such a fundamental shift in the way we perform our jobs. Early in my career, and like many on this call, the top graphic depicts how we went to market. Then enter Google, Facebook, YouTube, blog platforms, mobile devices, and our world of marketing was turned upside down. No longer did we dig into our pockets, push some money towards a TV ad or billboard, and hope that the message attracted business for us. But rather, today we're in an age of customer-centric, one-to-one marketing, where there are multiple touch points and paths that the customer experiences with our business. Are some of those traditional touch points still applicable? Yes, to an extent. But I'm sure that we can all agree that digital reigns and the customer is the one in control. In fact, just one look at this graphic showing the digital consumption in 60 seconds would squash any argument that digital is the here and now, and that customers are more informed than ever. Today's presentation is titled, Using Technology to Align Your Marketing and Sales Teams, or as Chad mentioned, sales and marketing, marketing and sales, whichever way you want to look at it. And really, due to the shift in the way we market and the way our customer engages with us as marketers, as sales teams, and as businesses, we need to adapt and leverage technology to help us manage and analyze our customer engagement. Today, we will focus our discussion around the use of marketing automation and CRM technology to help feed the sales funnel, but really also emphasize and offer recommendations for creating that common desire to align our sales and marketing teams. Our last webinar focused on the differences and also the similarities of these two technologies. So today we'll dive deeper into leveraging these two to create alignment. So we talked about the transformation of the marketing profession to adapt to the changing ways our customer engages with us. However, have your sales teams also adapted to this change? In many cases, sales teams have not evolved as quickly as the marketing teams, and this has created some misalignment in many organizations. Many sales teams still rely on cold calls, product fact sheets, and PowerPoint slide decks to engage with customers. How many of you on the marketing side have struggled with your sales team seeing the value in the blogs you're creating or the social media presence you're building, or having the sales team follow up on the leads generated off your website? I know I had that. So from my past experiences, I would guess many of you are. Now, this is not meant to be a knock on the sales team, but rather I would argue that if you're finding yourself in this situation, there just hasn't been a true discussion, an alignment of communication and marketing and sales, educating one another on what can and should be done to connect with the customer. Let's look at a recent survey by Acton and Glenster Research asking, what are the overall top challenges that cause you to struggle with your current marketing objectives? As you can see here, the top two challenges include access to existing customer data and marketing alignment with sales. Looking at these two struggles, it seems that a conversation and plan to integrate marketing and sales closer together is greatly needed. But the question remains how. I thought this quote depicted the situation well. To make this integration happen, it has to be viewed like a true change management exercise. Of course, it's all rooted in understanding your customers and understanding how the dynamics play out with your particular type of sale, how many buying influences, and really rooting your decisions around what's happening with how your ideal customer, your sweet spot customer, makes decisions. Now, did you notice what was missing from that statement? Nowhere does it mention technology. This really was not an oversight, because your first step in creating marketing and sales alignment must start with developing a customer-focused strategy within your organizations first. While the team here at LedgeView Partners deals with technology implementations day in and day out, we will be the first to tell you that without this strategy in place, you can have the best technology in the world, but if your teams are not on board or see the value in the technology, you will not realize the full potential of the implementation. Thus, it's really imperative that marketing and sales work together to develop the customer-focused strategy, as they both have critical information to share in its development. So let's take a look at some of the tactics developing that strategy. And before we talk technology, there are 4 steps that you should complete to develop a customer-focused strategy. In the first step, let's talk communication and definition. Today, if I were to pull members of your marketing team and your sales team into a room and ask them the following question, would their answers align? Questions like, what is a lead to your organization? What is a marketing qualified lead? What is considered a sales qualified lead? And how do you define an opportunity? How are these terms defined within your organization? Does the sales team define a lead the same way that the marketing team does? What does a marketing qualified lead look like? How does your organization define when a lead moves from that stage to an opportunity? Coming to an alignment on these will be critical. Take this chart as an example, and at your next meeting with your marketing and sales teams, have them answer these questions. See where they align and where they don't. Communicate this to one another. The definition of these will be different for every organization because the customer behaviors and interactions will be different. So there's not a one-size-fits-all definition that I can give you today, but inside your organization, there should be a common definition for each of these. Step 2 is the development of your buyer personas. Defining these should be done as a collaborative effort between marketing and sales teams. Buyer personas should be developed to help you segment your customers into general groupings or personas. These are like fictional representations of your customer buying groups to generalize what their wants are, their needs, their challenges, and desires. As you can see in this example from HubSpot, who's a marketing automation company, they have defined 3 personas to align with their particular business. Personas really help us to define who we are trying to attract to our business. These personas are not only helpful to marketing and sales, but they also can be helpful to fuel product and service development. Having a deep understanding of your buyer personas is critical to driving content creation, product development, sales follow-up, and really anything that relates to customer acquisition and retention. How do you develop these personas? What I would suggest is grab your sales team, grab your marketing team, and grab a whiteboard, and really just start talking. One of the best sources of information to create these customer profiles will be the sales team sitting at the table. What information can they provide about the customers that you serve? What do they know about their buying patterns? Grab this information and start charting it. Other sources that will help you in uncovering these personas include your current contact database. This database will help you to uncover trends to determine how customers are engaging with your marketing activities today. Another source could be your web forms. Really leveraging web forms to capture information that is important to you. For example, if the title of the person is important, make sure you are collecting that on your current web forms. Or if the size of the organization is important, ask that as well. Capturing this information will help you to better understand what your personas look like. And finally, another tactic would be interviewing your existing customer base to gather this information. This third step is taking those personas and developing a customer journey map. Customer journey mapping is an important exercise to complete because it will help you define the touch points that your customers have with you during the various sales stages. It should include the first touch point all the way to the end sale and ongoing retention journey. Knowing these touch points will help you to better align your marketing activities as well as your sales activities. This map will also help to raise the visibility of the fluid nature of the customer journey and knowledge that the passing from marketing to sales is not always streamlined. So that is why it's important to have a connected system that reports on customer activities and triggers so that marketing is engaging at the appropriate time as well as the sales team. This mapping will also be an important reference point as we look at the use of marketing automation and CRM, specifically when determining lead scoring values, as well as the appropriate content to populate lead nurturing campaigns. Finally, step 4, what are you trying to achieve? Developing goals together as sales and marketing teams. What are the objectives in implementing this lead management strategy? How many leads does my team need to hit revenue goals? What are 2 or 3 key metrics I will use to measure my success? There's lots of questions you can ask yourself here, but really as a team, developing those goals together will help create a clear definition on what the 2 groups are trying to achieve together. Now that a customer-focused strategy is in place, it's time to look at technology. Now that the marketing and sales teams have defined who the customer is, what their buying behaviors are, and the goals you're trying to reach, it's time to put technology into action. Let's first start with the topic of integration. What components do you need to have a strong integrated presence as it relates, in this case, specifically to lead generation? The first is to have strong digital assets. This includes a website that is ready to drive leads and conversions. This means having forms and call to actions to move the customer through the buying journey that you have developed earlier. For example, having an offer to download a white paper describing solutions to a common pain point your customer encounters, and then a form that may invite them to attend a webinar, or a form that supplies the customer with a pricing guide. As you can see, each of these conversion opportunities would meet the various buying stages of the customer. This also may mean having a strong social media presence where you can share landing pages and blog content that you've developed. Really, this topic of creating digital assets to help you to get found by your potential leads is something that would require additional discussion. And I think it probably will be a future webinar that will probably develop. So we're just going to kind of leave the conversation at that for today. The second key component is to integrate those digital assets within a marketing automation system. The information collected from your web forms or the web tracking activities the customer engages in or the emails that they read will all be tracked in your marketing automation system. Tracking this activity will allow you to build marketing lists based on the buyer's activity and push out content that is specific to their buying stage. You will also be able to score and nurture leads to be able to get them ready for the sales team. The third integration point is connecting your marketing automation system to your CRM system. Your CRM system is where your sales team lives, and you'll want to make this integration to push over the information that you are tracking in your marketing automation system to help them with the sales process. As marketers, if you already know what ebooks a customer has read, what forums they have submitted, what emails they engaged with, wouldn't this be helpful information to share with the sales team so that first call is not cold, but rather informed? Not only does this passing of data help to educate the sales team, but it also helps to prioritize their day. If you have a lead with a lead score of 45 and one with a 20, who do you think you will call first? Also, if someone has a lead score of 45 versus 20, who do you think is more likely to want to talk to you and come to the end of the sales cycle quicker? This integration can help to improve the number of days to close a sale, as your sales team is providing efficient, relevant, and convincing conversations with a customer. And what about the marketing team? The integration between marketing automation and CRM should be bi-directional. The marketing team should be able to view if a lead resulted in a sale. The length of time the sales process took, and the revenue generated will be critical information to share. The marketing team can then analyze and make adjustments to their marketing campaigns based upon the campaigns that generate the most sales and/or revenue. They will want to know what campaign activities are converting so that they can send more customers down the successful campaign path and thus send more qualified, sales-ready customers to the sales team. As you are preparing for an integration, here are a few steps to keep in mind. 1, have good data to work with. If you have an existing database, clean them up before passing the data into another system. Next, define what data you want to pass from one system to another. Not all information will be relevant to the sales team, and not all information will be relevant to the marketing team. Again, work together to determine what data points are important and who should be exposed to them. The next step is connect the systems through configuration, integration, and finally importing of existing data. And finally, like any system, you want to make sure your staff is properly trained and understand not only the system, but the business process that has been defined to pass leads from the marketing team to the sales team. All right, now that we have your systems connected, it's time to start deploying them. In this webinar, we will highlight some of the main functionality that can be used to align your marketing and sales teams. But in a future webinar, we will discuss more of the nuts and bolts of creating and using these marketing automation tool sets. So let's start with the developing of a lead generation plan. Any good lead generation plan starts first with a definition of who you want to include in your marketing lists and campaigns. With an integrated platform, those lists could come from your CRM system or from your marketing automation system. Strategically slicing and dicing your data will be important in developing campaigns that are relevant to your leads and customers. Once your customer segments or lists are defined, you will need to decide what campaigns you will run and what content you will share. Again, remember those buyer personas and customer journey mapping we discussed? Having those in place ahead of time will help greatly in knowing what content to share and with whom. Then you need to develop a content plan. Content could include videos, blog articles, ebooks, product sheets, etc. This will be important to have as it will give you information to share with your leads and customers. I'm not going to lie, developing content can be a real challenge, especially if you are short-staffed. However, don't underestimate the value, as this will help not only to fuel your marketing automation initiatives, but ultimately impact sales. To get started, develop a content calendar and plan for posting content offers on your website and social pages with a goal of driving leads into your business. You will also need content to include in your lead nurturing campaigns. To get started, ask yourself, what content is important to my customers? What pains are we trying to solve? Again, this is where you'll want to pull out and align your content to those buyer groups you define in your persona and journey mapping exercise. According to Forrester research, companies excel at lead nurturing generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a 33% lower cost. So to say that embarking on a lead nurturing strategy is important would be an understatement. But how does using this functionality get us closer to marketing and sales alignment? To understand this deeper and get us closer to that answer, let's share another statistic by Axon stating that 61% of B2B marketers, 61%, are sending all leads directly to sales, and only 27% of those are actually qualified or ready to talk to sales. Do you see the major issue associated with this? How likely is it that after time, your sales team will begin ignoring those leads because the majority are not producing sales for them? Also, how likely is it that your marketing team will hear, the leads we get from marketing are junk? Well, this may not be true. It seems to be human nature to focus on the negative rather than the positive. And if only 27% of the leads are converting, they're unfortunately remembering the 70% plus that are not. So how will lead nurturing fix this? Lead nurturing can be used in multiple ways, but we'll focus on three main strategies. The first is nurturing leads before they are handed over to the sales team for follow-up. Let's say if someone downloads a white paper on your website, does this automatically mean that the lead should be passed to sales for follow-up? Or better yet, does this mean the customer is ready to engage with a member of your sales team? Probably not. But what if they downloaded a white paper, visited your product page and pricing page, attended a webinar, and engaged with an email regarding purchasing your product? Well, now that sounds like they may be a little further into the buying journey than the first scenario, and that lead may be ready to talk to a member of your sales team. The second strategy for lead nurturing leads, and again showing how marketing and sales can work with one another. Let's say a member of your sales team does make contact with a lead and finds out they're not ready to purchase for another 6 months. The sales team could put this customer back into a nurturing campaign developed by the marketing team and re-engage in another 6 months. One major mistake that companies make is not marketing to their non-sales ready leads. The customer has shown an interest, but they're just not ready to purchase. So instead of leaving that communication cold for 6 months, how about including them in a nurture campaign? If you have your marketing automation CRM system connected, you can enable your sales team to align a lead or contact into a nurturing campaign directly from CRM. The third strategy we'll discuss is nurturing customers who have purchased and who you want to re-engage. While most of the conversation thus far has focused on leads, there's much opportunity to gain additional business or incremental sales with your existing customers. If you're selling widgets, the lead nurturing campaign may focus on accessories for the widget or a replacement product once the product is nearing its predicted life expectancy. Again, a connected system that provides data and informs marketing on what the customer purchased will be vital in the development of this type of lead nurturing activity. Lead nurturing campaigns can be set up for many different customer profiles, and the steps earlier in defining your lead nurturing plan will help you in knowing how you want to structure your lead nurturing campaigns. Some companies set these up based on a series of behaviors, others by lead nurturing score levels, or by demographic information, or really a combination of all three. I found this quote, and I think it does a great job articulating why and what lead nurturing does. It goes, automate buyer progression, not just emails. Great marketing automation requires smart segmentation of buyers, reading buying signals, and acting on those signals. In other words, doing automatically at scale what a smart marketer would do if they had the time. All right, next we'll discuss the development of lead scoring profiles. Ultimately, your sales team wants to know, is this lead worth contacting? Lead scoring helps you assign a value to the activities the customer is engaging in. For example, on this chart, you can see a list of desired behaviors as well as profile attributes and a score value associated with each. Once a lead reaches the 25-point level, marketing passes this lead to sales. They are no longer passing all leads to the sales, but rather they are qualifying the lead before passing it along. How do you know what values to assign? Well, not to sound like a broken record, but remember that persona and customer journey mapping exercise? First, determine what the profile attributes are for your customer groups and score those. For example, job title, years of experience, annual budget, industry, geographic location are just a few. Next, you want to define the desired behaviors. Doing this will help you to uncover questions like, how do my leads like to and actually buy? What information does my lead need to buy? Where do my leads look for information? And what triggers indicate they're ready to talk with sales? The development of lead scoring with your marketing and sales teams will help you to gain additional alignment. Want proof? Start this process and start sending your sales team qualified leads. As soon as you start seeing sales generated, you won't have to convince anyone. Remember, the name of the game here will be quality over quantity. And to sum this up, this infographic provided by Act-On Software does a great job of showcasing the results of establishing scoring profiles. One of our final points is exposing the lead customer activity. We touched upon this a little bit earlier. As marketing is working to qualify a lead, there are several marketing activities that will take place and actions done by the customer. With an integrated system, you can share this information with your sales team so they can see and understand how your leads and contacts are engaging with your marketing activities by exposing that information in CRM. Here's an example from a ClickDimensions integration. And you can see how the data that is collected in marketing animations, such as what events they went to, what websites they visited, what forms they submitted, are all tracked to the contact level. And here's another example from Act-On Software of how this data can be integrated from marketing automation into your sales team or into your CRM system. The sales team can use this information to target their conversation to the customer because they have a better idea of what the customer is interested in. We're at the final point of today's webinar, and this is the use of technology to report, analyze, and collaborate with your marketing and sales teams. The marketing team is collecting an immense amount of data in your marketing automation system, and the sales team as well in the CRM system. It's time to merge that data to create actionable insights for both teams. Here's a great funnel report used in the Act-On Marketing Automation system. Here, with an integration to CRM, we can see how many anonymous website visitors were converted into leads and then opportunities, but also the number of days it took to convert, as well as the number of contacts, opportunities, and ultimately revenue that was generated. It's important that both teams are made aware of successes and failures along the way. So create dashboards in your CRM to communicate activities. Plan to meet often to analyze and strategize. Don't make this a one-time exercise. The data will help both of your teams to make better decisions going forward. So we covered a lot of ground today, and I hope you'll join us for future webinars where we'll dig deeper into some of the topics addressed today and additional ones as well. Here's a look at some of the upcoming topics. You can register for these webinars at ledgeviewpartners.com. So this wraps up today's presentation. I would like to thank you for attending, and I hope you have gained some strategies on how to use technology to better align your sales and marketing teams. And I'm going to turn this back over to Chad to close the webinar today.
Thank you very much, Jody. That is a lot of information, and I hope everybody found it extremely valuable. I know that I did, and got a lot of takeaways from today that'll really help better align your sales and marketing teams through the use of technology. Just a reminder that for everyone, you'll be receiving an email in your inbox shortly with a recording of today's session. And I just want to put a quick spotlight on our next webinar taking place February 11th, how to empower your sales team with customer analytics. In this 30-minute scenario-based webinar, we'll demonstrate how exposing marketing activity information to the sales team can help them be more informed about their customers' needs before making that first sales connection. And in return, pushing sales results data back will empower your marketing team and their efforts. So feel free to register for that. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great day.